Family, it's your favorite queer radio personality, Anna DeShawn, and this is Queer News Live on Thursday afternoon. I'm so glad you're joining us today, and we've got a special guest. So today is going to be a lot of fun. So stay close. This is E3 Radio. Family, we've started Queer News Live just last month, and it's just been a way for me to reconnect with you all outside of when we drop the podcast on Monday. And it's been a lot of fun. Mondays at 7 o'clock, Thursdays at noon, maybe while you're grabbing lunch, you can just join us here on YouTube. And Thursdays are meant to be a time to have interviews, to be in conversation with community. And I'm excited because today we have another guest for y'all, okay? A Chicago Therapy Collective's own Albie is joining us, and I'm excited to have Albie. Welcome to the show.
Hey, hello, viewers, listeners. ¿Qué tal? Trazo Kamati. Gracias. Thank you for having me on.
All the things. It's good to see you. It's been quite some time.
Oh, yeah. Always great to see you. Excited to be here. Excited for E3s. Also, you got the new live happening. Excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Now, let me just read Albie's bio, okay, so you just know a little bit more. Yes, aka Ms. Mister, which I'm sure you've probably seen Albie perform out here, okay? Albie, you've been doing your thing for a long time in Chicago. Is a two-spirit, multidisciplinary artist and bilingual psychotherapist and senior manager at Chicago Therapy Collective. She also serves on the board of directors for Task Force Prevention and Community Services and is dedicated to equity and inclusion in mental health care as a clinician and advocate for fellow gender expansive and transgender people of color. Yeah, Albie, that's what you be up to.
Mm-hmm. Been on it for a while now. As you said, I've been a performer for a long time. A lot of the sort of mental health work I did before coming on to CTC was within community teaching the art of dance, movement, burlesque, and really honing in on the needs of gender expansive people, giving them space to explore, to play, and now engaging with that clinically. I just reached 2 years with CTC. I've worked clinically in other places before that were really not trans inclusive, not LGBTQ affirming, and CTC is really all about that, especially with this expansion into the Northwest side. We do have offices now in the 26th Ward. So actually we're right across the street from Alderperson Jessie Fuentes' political office. She was here for our growth party for Trans Day Visibility. So we're excited to be in another neighborhood, connect with more people, and offer services to folks who speak Spanish and other languages, and really just extend the work that we're doing for mental health, for people of color, for queer folks, lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and offering these important services. I want to say some important things that we're doing that not every mental health service place really does, and it's part of our focus, is long-term care. So this means there's not a limited number of sessions that a person might receive from us, and we work with folks regardless of ability to pay. So long-term care is important for us. It's an important part of a trauma-informed model of care. And we also provide short-term therapy services. So these are things like letters for surgical readiness. So folks who want to take part in medical transition, if they need support for surgical care, letter writing, that's something that we do as well. And that's available to everyone in our community, regardless of ability to pay.
Let me just tell you something. I hope you took it all in, okay? I ain't even asked a single question yet. Albert got the whole, elevator speech ready to go. I think let's take a step back because people might not even know what Chicago Therapy Collective is. So, Ms. Albie, can you tell the good people about CTC just in general?
Oh, yeah. So, before this expansion, folks probably know us for our important work with Higher Trans Now, which is a campaign that was started by Elise Mallory, RIP. We always remember her fondly, and the work that we do with Higher Trans Now is in honor of the legacy that she has left us. And that important campaign has been about creating trans inclusive workplaces around the city of Chicago. And that's been very successful. We train businesses on being more trans inclusive in their policies, their workplaces, and also host a job board on our website. So trans and gender expansive folks who are seeking employment in places that are safer and more accommodating, more inclusive can check that out there. And we were founded in 2018, and that campaign started in that same year and continues to this day. So that's probably how a lot of folks, I think, are most familiar with CTC. We have,
Absolutely.
oh yeah, all
Absolutely. And I love Elise Knight.
yeah. Mhm. I want to elevate
Elise,
her name for sure because
absolutely. A
you're carrying
friend,
it forward. Mhm,
yeah, who should still be here.
mhm,
And it's such a beautiful mural that you could find
mhm.
up on the north side,
Oh yeah.
um, honoring her. And I think that there's a street now also honoring her for
Mm,
all of her work that she did. And that's really how I got to know CTC was through Elise.
mhm,
And I think it's so beautiful that you all have gone from Higher Trans Now, which has been such a beautiful initiative
mhm,
across the city, and the work that you all did within the mayor's office as well,
mhm,
to now this huge expansion. Now, tell the good people what this expansion really looks like. You talked a little bit about the services, but
mhm.
y'all are now the largest provider of mental health services in the city of Chicago. Is that right?
In the city, well, we are the largest nonprofit LGBTQ mental health providers in the state of Illinois.
Well, the whole state.
So
Let's
we
get it right. A
whole
whole state.
state,
That's incredible.
and our services are also available to folks all around the state. So it's really important because telehealth is a great option. That's a part of our expansion too, because we know Chicago is a great welcoming place. We love Chicago and our siblings in other parts of the state, rural parts that don't have the same support, connection, community, can still receive services from us.
I love that. Telehealth is really important. Ever since COVID, child, the whole world been upside down,
Mhm.
and this is one of the things that folks have gotten right is being able to connect with people online in this particular way. And tell me more about this expansion to the northwest side, because you all have been traditionally on the northeast side, close to Clark Street. So tell
Mhm.
us more about that northwest side.
Oh yeah, our headquarters, as our staff is calling it, is in Andersonville, like right, the building that we share is just above the Women and Children First bookstore. Love that bookstore, great
We
place, and the
do.
mural that you talked about. It's right on that southern-facing wall. And our new offices are in the Kimball Art Center. So we're 1757 North Kimball, right on the corner of Kimball and North Avenue, essentially. And we've got a bunch of wonderful new office space here, therapists who are here, and we really wanted to engage folks in this area along with partnerships with other agencies on this part of the city, including Calor, Life is Work, and Task Force Prevention and Community Services, and ensuring that folks who are least likely to receive care, right, statistically, are able to now access that care and have direct access to care with these specific partnerships with other LGBTQ plus organizations. So the expansion is not just like a physical location on the west side, northwest side, but actually partnerships with organizations already doing work with community in these parts of the city.
And we love that. I'm such a huge proponent of what collaboration and partnerships do for our work. I'm a believer that we shouldn't be doing anything alone right now. Like absolutely nothing. We're all stronger together. And you just named off three of the very best in
Yeah.
the city and those who are serving folks on the west side that has been so disproportionately underinvested in
Mhm.
for such a long time. And Life is Work, Task Force, Calora. I mean, they're all doing such great work. And so now that y'all are there too, so often the West Side is forgotten about. We
Mm.
talk about the North Side, we talk about the South Side, and folks don't come from me. There is no East Side, okay? But we'll talk about that later. But the Northwest Side, I think that's fantastic. So tell me more about this piece around you don't all have to have the money to get the services.
Mhm. Yeah, so this is a really important, unique part of, part of this expansion as well. Before, we were previously limited to certain types of insurance, and we did have limited sliding scale or no fee spots for folks. However, now we're able to accommodate folks who have Medicaid, Medicare, folks who have private insurance, folks who have no insurance or are underinsured, folks who don't have an ability to pay. The important part of creating equity and inclusion for LGBTQ folks is removing that barrier to care. And that's how we've started. Now with this expansion, folks can check out our website. On our therapy page there's more information about some of the therapists you might want to work with, some of the philosophy of our type of care that we provide, and folks can fill out an intake form if they're interested and want to get started. Either if you've been in therapy before, I have a lot of clients who've seen therapists before, some whose therapy experiences weren't great because they weren't with people who were affirming of their identities and their experiences. And I meet with a lot of folks who've never had therapy before and are like, don't know what the hell it is, are able to connect with someone who is affirming, trauma-informed in the ways that are going to help them really make the most out of the experience of therapy and what that can provide for folks. I think an important part of what I like to do, oh yeah, we got the site on here. An important part of what I like to do when I'm working with folks who've never been to therapy before is really help frame like how therapy can function for folks. Some people think, there's a lot of stigma around mental health. Folks think, oh, you got to be crazy to go to therapy. Like, if you are crazy, maybe go to therapy, but also you don't need to be in any sort of condition to seek therapy. One of the ways I frame the work that I do and my method of working with folks is I think of myself, and I want clients to think of me as their mental health personal assistant. I use my expertise in psychology and counseling to help folks create goals to shift their life in alignment with their values. And that can mean all sorts of things for people.
A mental health personal assistant. I love it.
Yeah.
And I love thinking about it in that particular way because we all need some help sometimes. I
Mhm.
tell people often therapy saved my life. And we don't know the value of it until we actually participate in it. When we actually have an experience that is affirming, that feels right, and having somebody who don't know you from jump and being able to talk with them from an unbiased perspective will absolutely change your life.
Mhm.
As Miss Albie said, I did pull up the website for y'all. Okay, it is just this simple. You can choose which, what works best, what feels like that's what you need. Come on, sex therapy. I love y'all so much.
Mhm.
And I love this idea of short-term therapy and let us support versus long-term care too. I think something folks don't think about always is just that therapy don't have to last always. Sometimes you just need some help for the moment, right?
Right, exactly. Especially with short-term letters of support. I know I've worked in other mental health service locations that don't provide that, don't know much about that, and think it's a complicated process. And we really make that easy for folks, especially because we live in Illinois, we live in Chicago, a place that really is right now holding strong in medical care for trans folks and wanting to ensure that we eliminate any barriers to folks receiving that care.
Yeah. I I think this is fantastic. Family, here's the deal. I want y'all to go visit the website. I'm gonna pull up a banner here so that y'all can, so that it's right at the bottom because I feel like I just want people to keep seeing the website address. ChicagoTherapyCollective.org/therapy,
Mhm.
because it's one of these things where even if you don't think you need it right now, it's good to have the resource for when you do need it. And the
Mm,
fact that y'all telling the people no insurance, no problem. I mean, I think that's such a huge thing because we can find money being a barrier, especially right now in this economy. And the fact that you all are set up to be able to support all of this. Tell me, was this always the plan? Is Albie to expand and be the largest provider of mental health services in Illinois?
I don't know if it was always the plan, but because I've been here for 2 years, we were founded in 2018. So Iggy Ladden is the founder. Folks probably know about Iggy. They're always out and about. They're
Yeah.
also a recent parent again. Just had another child with their partner, and a
Okay.
lot of the work that CTC has also done is not just therapy, which is great. We that's really what our main focus. But in advocacy legislation, we help support the Equality for Every Family Act in Illinois so that folks who use IVF or other birthing medical techniques or strategies, folks who are adopted, folks in queer families, can ensure that their parentage, their families are protected under this important law. So Iggy's work as a parent has also been an important part of that, in alignment with, right, our work in trauma-informed care and therapy is how do we protect queer families as well as queer people.
And family, that whole act that Miss Albie's talking about is because of Iggy and their partner. And it's one of these moments where you can see how your work and your advocacy, and then you end up in a situation like that,
Mhm.
how you can use that because of the communities you built to create change for so many people that you never saw coming.
Mhm.
I don't think Iggy ever thought they find themselves in that particular situation, having to fight that particular fight. And
Mhm.
because they did, now the entire state, anybody going through IVF, right,
Mhm.
is automatically on birth certificates. It's an automatic situation. It's never going to be questioned here. And this is why we are sort of in our own little bubble,
Mhm.
but we must do everything we can to protect our bubble. This bubble is not just here by accident, it's here very intentionally
Mhm.
because of advocate and activists and organizations like CTC. So this is fantastic work. I'm so glad you all came on, that you came on to tell us all about this, because I think more people need to know
Mhm.
that, my goodness, we got an organization here in the city that's now the largest provider of mental health services in the state of Illinois.
Largest nonprofit LGBTQ affirming providers in the state. We're so excited for this expansion. Like you said, right, no insurance, no problem. It's really important for the folks that we're serving, and right, important for me to note, if folks do have the ability to, right, donate to the cause too. If you've found value in therapy, you have the ability to support it. We do have a page on our website. Folks want to donate. Every $25 that folks donate is essentially a session of therapy for someone who can't afford it. Um, so it's important to note too, if folks who want to support the cause in that way financially are able to, definitely. If you're not, other ways to help are just let folks know that the support is here. And I have some openings on my caseload. I work with couples, particularly queer couples, polyamorous folks. And it's an important part of the work we do of protecting trans people, protecting queer folks and queer families, especially through therapy.
And can you talk a little bit about how people can find a therapist again?
Yeah, so if they check out our website, chicagotherapycollective.com/therapy, you can book a session. You can also, on our therapy page, there's a list of the folks who are on our team. If any of those folks seem of interest to you, any of their particular specialties or the work that they specialize in, folks can request to work with that particular person.
I love it. And let me tell you, I'm not going to screen share this, but they look great. Okay. There is a lot of information on this page about these clinicians, who they are, what moves them, what their specialties are, if they're accepting new clients, what insurance they're accepting, their availability, their location. Child, it's everything you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
And therapy, finding the right therapist is like dating, child. You can't, if one don't go right, it's all right. You got to keep you keep at it until you find the one that does work for you, right? And so having an opportunity to date around when it comes to a therapist is really important too.
Very important, right? Because it is about fit, because not everyone's going to
Mhm.
be for everyone. Some folks, a lot of folks I work with choose to work with me because we have some sort of shared identity that's important. Sometimes it's language, right? If I work with someone who speaks Spanish, they want someone who speaks Spanish. Someone who is a woman, right? They want to work with a woman. I'm available. So it's important for folks, especially if they're new to therapy or didn't have a great experience when they've tried it before,
Mhm.
know that, right, it sometimes is a bit of an experiment, right, to try and figure out what's going to really work for you. And
Yeah.
is this therapist you're thinking about when you're going to work with them, are they going to be your mental health personal assistant, going to help you get through the things that you want to get through in the way you'd like to get through them?
Absolutely. And so before I let you go, can you tell me, or tell the good people, if somebody's listening who is like, therapy is not for me,
Mm.
I know y'all be talking about therapy, but we don't do that. What would you tell them?
I would say something that my mom says.
Mm.
Don't knock it till you try it.
Just that simple, isn't it? Don't
Mhm.
knock it till you try it. I promise you, it will change your life. It will change your life. And in so many cases, it saves lives. Okay. I need a
Mhm.
whole shirt that says therapy saves lives, period.
Period.
Miss Albie, it's always good to see you.
Great to see you. Thank you so much for inviting me to join you.
Of
And
course.
excited to see you again more. Summer's going to be here. Pride Month's going to be here. So,
It'll be
community.
time to come outside.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see you very soon. And family, please, even if you don't want the therapy services, tell a friend. And if you can, donate. All right. We have to protect our organizations now more than ever before. And CTC is one of those ones we got to protect out here. So thanks again for coming on.
Thank you. Gracias.
Gracias. Family, this is what we're doing here on Thursdays. We're going to open up the microphone, open up the platform, and welcome our friends and our partners and community organizations to join us here. I think it's just so important for you all to know what's happening. So often, this is not the news that makes your feed. This is not the voices that you always hear. Everything isn't covered by every outlet. Child, every outlet's just trying to hang on. All right. But this is one reason I wanted to block my time, block my day on Monday evenings and Thursday afternoons to create space for this, to create space for these conversations because they are so important. They're needed. It's about information. No one ever asks me what E3 stands for, but it's about education, it's about enlightenment, and it's about entertainment. And we're going to do it all here, okay? We're going to do it all. Now, family, I missed you Monday night. So we got to run back the top queer news stories from this past week that came out on Monday. Now, before I get into all the stories we covered, this story right here, Avery R. Young at the Lyric Opera. Let me tell you something. Avery was the first poet laureate of Chicago, Black, gay, educator, uh, talented poet, writer, activist, advocate, spirit filled. Do you understand? It's taking the stage at the Lyric Opera House here in Chicago, April 17th, 18th, 19th, I believe. But let me tell you something. Don't miss this show. I already got my tickets. I even told my friends to get tickets. Okay. We're going to be there and we will not miss this because when do we see this? When someone who is not a trained opera singer is performing at the Lyric. Come on now. I support this. All right. But let's talk about our top queer news stories from this past week. Conversion therapy. The Supreme Court made a decision. They ruled on this particular case and they decided 8-1 that, hey, conversion therapy in the form of talk therapy is likely falls under the First Amendment. 8 of them agreed on that. Liberals and conservatives and liberals agreeing on a particular issue. And the issue just happens to be conversion therapy. But the one and only Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was the one dissenter. And I promise we must protect her at all costs. Let me pull up a couple of quotes that she said during this case. And actually, I'm going to remove myself to make it bigger here. In the context of medical practice, we insist upon competence, not debate. The degree to which medical providers speaking within the boundaries of providing patient care can express themselves is limited because their interactions with patients are constrained by their well established duties and the requirement that they meet the standard of care. Let me read something else she said in her dissent. Talk therapy is a medical treatment. So, why wouldn't such speech based medical treatments be subject to reasonable state regulation like any other kind of medical care? The United States and the majority just insist that a law that undertakes to regulate speech based medical treatments is presumptively unconstitutional. because the treatment is being administered solely through speech. But that reasoning is maddeningly circular, and it is based on happenstance, not logic. Let me tell y'all something. This woman right here, she gets it. She gets it. This is not just about free speech. This case is not just about free speech. This case is about the speech of a medical professional. Medical professionals have standards, they have rules, there are regulations. Doctors have taken oaths, therapists are doctors, and they should not be allowed. They should not be allowed to share harmful. Actually, so many define conversion therapy as torture. They shouldn't be able to provide that type of medical advice, practice. I don't care if it's talk therapy or not. It's not free speech. This is now medical speech. Medical speech that has been debunked by every scientific, medical journal, doctor, survey, test, exam, child, everything. Conversion therapy has been proven to be absolutely wrong. And so when we think about the fact that 8 to 1, that there was only one person that saw that fact to be so true, it's scary. But here's the beautiful part of this moment. That was not the decision that overturned conversion therapy. It's not that conversion therapy is no longer banned. It's not that people who choose to practice it won't be held accountable or couldn't be sued for practicing it. It's that they said this needs to go back to Colorado. They said it could likely fall under the First Amendment, and we're sending it back to Colorado to make a final decision. So here is what the advocates of Colorado are doing. They are activating, they are lobbying, they are telling their side of the story, sharing the cases, sharing the facts, because conversion therapy is absolutely awful. Actually, there's a court case going around that Ebony K. Williams sat on, and I want to share it. I'm going to share it on social. I want to talk about it because it broke my heart. And I don't think people really understand the extent and just how dangerous conversion therapy really is. And we're going to do a whole video about this case and a whole series called The Docket, where we're going to talk about the Supreme Court cases that are impacting, yes, LGBTQ folks and their constitutional rights. And conversion therapy is going to be the first one. And it's coming out within the next week or so. And let me tell you, you can't change this. So many have tried and failed. So many have tried and failed. You can't change this. You just can't. So, family, conversion therapy is going back to Colorado. I will be following the story. We will be following the story because it's going to impact a lot of people. Because if it can happen in Colorado, it can happen anywhere. Yeah. That's the political story for today. Let's talk about some culture and entertainment. Hey, look at these 3 guys. Chella, Schuler, and Cal. They are the first all-trans Ironman relay team to compete in the sport, and they just won 3rd place. They just won 3rd place in the Ironman relay. Then now, do y'all know what the Ironman relay is? It is intense. It is a 1-mile swim. Okay, so one person swims 1 mile. Okay, and then another person another person bikes 55.9 miles. Bikes 55 miles. I want y'all to go to y'all's Google Maps, your Waze, whatever you use to get your directions, and put in your home or your current location, and then just think about something you think is far away. Let's think about something you think is really far away, and then see how many miles it is. And then really get an idea of what 55.9 miles is. So one person bikes that, and then they pass it off to the 3rd leg, which is a half marathon. The half marathon is 13.1 miles. And they do it as a team. The first all trans team to compete, and they came in 3rd place. 3rd place in the Ironman relay. I think this is so dope. I think it's pretty amazing, especially given all of the commentary and rhetoric and legislation against trans kids in sports right now. And it's always focused on trans women. It's never a conversation about trans men in sports. Child, the misogyny runs deep. Okay. And these guys, they did it and they were proud to do it. And they didn't just do it for themselves or to, check a box off of their things to do list. They did it for community. I actually have a quote here that we shared on the podcast this week. They said, in a world that is increasingly hostile towards trans people, with an undue emphasis on athletics, we came together to showcase trans excellence, trans collaboration, and trans joy. Just days before we stepped on the starting line, the IOC announced a ban on trans women in the Olympics. It tightened the focus for all of us. Sports are a human right of which so many people are deprived. We swam, cycled, and ran for something so much greater than each of us alone. For every person disenfranchised by transphobia, white supremacy, ableism, colonialism, for Palestinians, Iranians, Sudanese, Congolese, for every human's right to exist exactly as we are, everywhere we are. They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to say that, and yet they did. Like, they weren't doing this for themselves, and I love that. I love that for us. I love that for them, and they look great. They don't even look tired. I'd still be tired. Swimming for a mile, y'all, I can't even put into context how long a mile long swim is, but just try to get in the pool and do some laps. Once you get done with 3, you're exhausted. I just want you to know it's a lot more than 3. Family, this has been a good time today on Queer News Live. I want to thank Ms. Albie for joining us from Chicago Therapy Collective. Family, I hope you enjoy the interview. When we hit it back, I'm actually going to edit it, make it all cute and upload it, because more people need to know about the work CTC is doing out here as it pertains to therapy and expanding. They are now the largest provider of mental health services in the whole state of Illinois. That's incredible. So, family, I am excited about them and the work that they're doing. And so, please tap in, follow, right? The Queer News Podcast. We drop a new episode every Monday at 9 a.m. Central. And we're going to have more guests joining us. I need to do better about promoting it. I need to do better about sharing the word. I'm going to put something together, okay? But in the between time, y'all be good and take good care of yourself.